All right, shalom everyone, and peace of the Lord to all of you. I hope you can hear me very well. We are live in Discord and Rumble and YouTube. And if there is any Muslim who would like to join us, please feel free. You can join us on Discord and we will take you right away. 01, are you a Muslim? If you are a Muslim, you'd like to join us, feel free. As you see, the question is very simple, which Muslims still cannot answer. Who is Allah?
Allah is good.
Is what?
Allah is good.
Is God?
Just like it is written in your Bible. Yes.
In my Bible, it's written Allah is God.
No. What language did Jesus speak?
Aramaic and Hebrew.
Where was he from?
And all languages. Aramaic, Hebrew,
And God in Hebrew.
Greek.
And God in Hebrew.
He is God. He is God.
No.
He is God. Jesus.
In Hebrew.
All right, hold on.
How do you say God in Hebrew?
Jesus, he speaks.
No. How do you say God in?
Speak all languages of the world. Even your book says that Jesus made his disciples speak all languages of the world. That is my God, not your God. So I'm asking you now about who is your God. Who's your God? Why you muted yourself? Hello? Are you there? Are you searching Google? Are you asking ChatGPT who is Allah? Who is Allah? And what does this have to do with the language of Jesus? Why always Muslims, you ask them a question in the East, they answer in the West? Are you there? Most likely he is searching Google to find out who is Allah. Muslims don't know, all what they know, they will say to you, is God. But who is Allah? Like you see, if I say to you, who is your father? Let us say he's a doctor. Then you say doctor. No, I'm not saying what he do. I'm saying who is he? Who is your God? I mean, already I told you God. I know that you believe that he's God. So that is already included in the question. But now I'm asking you, who is Allah? If there is any single Muslim in the world, he knew what and who is Allah? They don't. They have no idea. All of them, they will tell you one thing. They will repeat the same answer. Allah is God. But this is another question. Who is Allah? They don't even have definition for this Allah. If we go to like videos in YouTube, you will see how funny, hilarious they are. Like this is Mufti Menk. You know Mufti Menk. He's a very, very well-known figure. And supposedly Muslim, they claim that he is a scholar. But do Mufti Menk have answer for our question? Who is Allah? Listen.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله.
All of this is just praying on Muhammad. Muhammad is the dead man. And Muhammad supposedly is the most beloved person by Allah. But Muhammad command the Muslims and he command Allah
Yes, hello.
to pray. Hello. You are back? Hello.
Yes. In Aramaic?
So who's Allah?
God in Aramaic.
Who is Allah?
God is Allah, right? Allah.
In
Allah is God.
Okay.
Look.
So are you saying that the word Allah?
Look.
Okay.
In Jesus' time, nobody called him a God.
Hold on.
All of them called him a prophet. That means that he is a prophet. Nobody called him God.
This is another question.
If you're right now,
this is another question.
No.
This is the question.
If you're right now, no. Don't try to escalate the thing. Yeah. If you're up, look.
So now,
if you're a boxer right now, okay?
You say
okay?
Allah is Aramaic.
You're a normal boxer.
Did you say Allah?
When you die,
did you say Allah
are
is
you the best boxer? No.
Muslim Abdul. Did you say that Allah is an Aramaic book? Did you say Allah is Aramaic word?
Huh?
Did you say
Allah,
that?
yeah.
Aramaic word, exactly. La is the moon god named by the Aramaic.
Wait. Repeat.
La, your god, his name is Al-La.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Al.
That's wrong.
Al is
Allah.
Al. Like, you know, I saw an ignorant guy. He have no hair. He said Allah is coming
You're
from the
trying to
word.
say, you're trying to
It's
misread
coming
things.
from the
No.
word. So hold on, coming
That
from
is
the
very
word.
wrong. That is very wrong. I
Coming
disagree.
from, let me talk. Coming from the word
That is very wrong.
Al-Ilah. The Muslim
That is very wrong.
is the word coming from Al-Ilah, but this is false. Al is a word mean God. La is the name of your God. Your God is the moon God. So now I'm asking you, prove me wrong. Who is Allah?
That's wrong. That's wrong.
Okay,
That's wrong.
prove me wrong. Go ahead. Who is Allah?
That's very wrong.
Okay, you can say
Allah is good, like I told you.
my friend. How
Allah is good. I told you.
Okay, hold on. Who is
No,
Allah?
wait.
Who is Allah?
No, wait.
Who is Allah?
How you say Jesus? No.
Do any
How you
Muslim?
say Jesus is good when the
I'm
people they
not
know
talking
him
about
as a
Jesus
prophet,
now.
not as
I'm
good.
not talking about Jesus.
Your own. No. You said Jesus is good. Like that you said.
Yeah, he is.
3
Yeah.
in 1. What,
But
this shampoo
but
or
we
what?
are talking about Allah. Who is Allah? Who is Allah?
Allah is good. I answer your question.
I'm not asking
Allah
you if
is
he is
good,
God
and
or
you say
not. Listen, okay, your God Allah,
no.
your God Allah. Who is
You
he?
asked me.
Who is
Who
he?
is good? I told you. Good.
Okay, let me to make it
Allah is
to
good.
make it
Allah
simple
is good.
to make it
Allah
simple
is
from you.
good.
Allah is
And the real good,
is Allah is a spirit?
unlike your
Is Allah a spirit?
Allah is the real good, like I told
Okay,
you,
no
and I
problem.
always
No
have been
problem.
telling you,
No
but
problem.
you are
Is Allah
no, yes. Allah is real good.
is
You
Allah?
are stupid enough to think
Uh-huh.
3 gods is one.
Okay,
That's
Mr.
how stupid you are.
Okay, Mr. Smart. Is Allah
You think
is Allah a spirit? No. Allah is not a spirit.
Allah is good.
How he
Allah
can be
is good.
God if
What
he
you
is
think?
okay? He
Shampoo.
according to Islam, Allah is
All in
a
one?
body.
No.
No,
This is
no,
very
no,
wrong. This is
no,
very
no.
wrong.
Listen, Allah
Yes.
is a
Allah
body.
is good. Allah is good. You say Jesus is good. Jesus is not good. If Jesus is good, how can your God die? Yes. Everyone in their
Abdul.
time they call him a prophet. They call him a prophet.
So are you going to
Nobody
have a
called him God.
conversation? Are you going to have a
Nobody called
conversation with
him
me,
God.
or you will repeat yourself? Are you going to have a
Prophets or
conversation?
whatever, they type it wrong, and you are misguided
Okay, no problem. No, I
by one of the guys,
so now,
and
how Allah,
you will go to hell because of that.
explain to me why Allah,
Because you will go to hell. You
has a body,
understand me?
why Allah has a body, but you don't have
I
a soul?
answer your question.
Why Allah has a
I
body?
tell you,
One by one.
Allah is good. You ask me who is Allah?
Why
Allah is good.
Allah, listen,
Alhamdulillah.
why Allah have a body?
Huh?
Why Allah have a body? Why he have hands and he have a leg, he have a butt? Why?
Are you stupid?
Huh?
Are you stupid?
You can't call me, this is not
Why
the
are you
question.
jumping
You can
out
call
of
me stupid, no
conclusions?
problem. You can insult me, but you cannot
No.
answer.
I answer your question. Now you answer my question.
Allah have a foot? Why Allah
I
have a
answer
foot?
your question. Now
Okay,
you answer my question.
what Allah
No.
do?
I answer your question. Now
No,
you
you did not
answer my
answer
question.
me. No, you did not answer me.
No.
Why
I
Allah
answer
has a
question.
foot?
You ask me who is Allah. I tell you
No,
Allah is
you did
good. Now
not.
you answer my
No, you did
question.
not. No, you just told
Don't
me.
jump on
You just
conclusions.
told me
Don't
he's
jump on
God.
conclusions.
He's God. He's God. I'm asking
You're
you.
stupid.
No
I
problem.
tell you. I answer you. You're stupid. أنت حمار.
Why Allah have a foot?
أنت كلب.
Okay, no problem. He's calling me dogs. He's calling me a donkey. No problem. Still, you can't answer. Why Allah have a foot?
Answer my question. I answer yours. I answered your question
You
before.
did not
Now you
answer
mine.
anything. Why Allah have a foot?
Yes, I answered. You ask me who is good.
Why
I tell you Allah.
Look, I'm going to show you.
No,
I'm
answer my
going to
question.
show you what you're a prophet.
I want.
I will show you what your false prophet Muhammad said.
Answer my question.
Allah.
Answer my question. I answer yours.
Hey, who care about your question? I mean, we are laughing. People are laughing. Look, your prophet said
answer my
that
question. I'll
Allah
answer
will
yours.
put his
As
foot.
simple as that.
Allah will put his foot.
Answer my question.
Uh-huh.
Answer yours.
Do you see the hadith?
That.
The Prophet said, it
If
will
you're
say to
if
her,
you're dumb,
are you filled?
if you're dumb
It
enough,
will say,
I'll
are
answer you.
there
You're
any
dumb.
more to come? On that, Allah will put his foot in it.
And
So Allah, he have a foot, according to your Prophet. Why he have a foot?
I'll answer yours.
Why he have a foot? Do he play football?
Answer my question, I'll
Is
answer yours.
is Allah a man?
Answer my question, I'll answer yours.
You did not ask me a question. Where is the question?
Answer my question, I'll answer yours.
All right. We need a mature Muslim. If there is any mature Muslim, please join us. This guy is just a kid. Who is Allah? They don't know. All what they know, there's somebody, his name is, or they call him Allah. He have a foot, he have a shin, he have a leg, he have two hands, and both of them are on the right side. He have two eyes, he have a back, he have a front, and he is not a spirit. That's all what they know about Allah, a physical description. And then if you ask somebody supposedly is more professional, like, you know, this guy who joined us in Discord is in, you know, is in confuse Abdul, trying to jump the embarrassment. If you listen to someone like this guy, you know, Mufti Menk, what he will say to us about Allah, listen and laugh.
وأصحابه أجمعين. My brothers and sisters, we commence in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We send blessings and salutations upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa
Muhammad the dead, they are sending him blessing and salutation. It's a religion worship Muhammad, not Allah. You know, Allah is just a Muhammad. He used such a word to control those Abduls. Allah does not exist. So he gave himself an authority to be God, saying, I'm sent by Allah. Let us, you know, let us see if you want to tell us who is Allah.
sallam, his household, his companions. We ask
His household, his everybody, even the women who slept with his wives, everybody. Assalamu alaikum, and we salute you. And we ask Allah to pray on you. Yeah. Muhammad family worshippers. Now, who is Allah?
I have ears, I have hands, I have limbs, I have feelings, I have relatives, I have so much. I earn, I spend, and guess
God
what?
fuck
At the
your
end of it,
ass,
I
okay?
die.
God will
May
fuck
Allah
your
grant
ass.
us all rahmah and maghfirah, the mercy and
This is Abdul.
forgiveness. And may
Sorry, guys, this is Abdul jump in Discord and he is upset, as usual.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with all of us. So I was made by a supreme deity. Someone made me.
Someone.
And this is what makes a believer. So the believers believe that someone made them. They didn't just appear or they didn't just come about from nothing. And this is what believers believe, because we're so sophisticated, it's impossible for us to just appear somewhere. I mean, if I were to tell you that something has just popped up in your backyard and it's a sophisticated electronic gadget and it just came from nowhere, you would think I was crazy. Someone has to have.
I mean, this guy now is supposedly trying to tell us why we should believe. Well, we are believers that God, he created us. This is another issue. Who is Allah? Who is Allah? I don't want to waste my time with somebody trying to convince me that there's God. We believe in God. Let us see the transcript so we don't waste time. Where is the transcript of the... I don't see transcript. Oh. Yeah, I don't see any transcript for the video. Let us skip a little bit then. Maybe he will start talking.
Who cannot make someone just like me. They've never done it. They cannot do it right now, and they're not going to do it in the future. And evidence of it is, as time passes, we're learning more and more about humankind. And that's Allah's plan. Allah says, we will show you more as time passes. سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين لهم أن. Actually, the truth. Sometimes you might have science proving something contradictory for a while. And after a decade or more, or a century or more or less, science will just apologize because it has a new finding. And that new finding.
The new finding, you see, there is something simple. We can prove Islam to be false. Like you just mentioned that Allah is the one who made you. But if you go in the Quran, you will find in 2 seconds that Allah cannot be a maker of anything because He do not know how a baby is made. We do not need to go and discover in the future because this is already very well known. If you go in the Quran, you will see how silly the Quran author and how ignorant he is. As an example, not limited, chapter 23, verse number 14, it says that Allah, He made the nutfa, which is a semen, transfer it into a dead blood. That alone is enough to prove that Allah is a fraud and does not exist. And this is Muhammad fabricating so-called Quran. No scientist in the world will believe for a second that the first stage of a baby is a dead blood. Dead blood is dead blood. It's dead. And blood does not make babies. And semen does not transform into blood. And then this semen who become blood, as you see, it's a thick, dead blood. Then we made that a clot into little lump of a flesh, which is false. This is absolutely false. You can go right now, search for the embryo stages, and you will see that this is very laughable. And according to the Quran, as you see, first is semen, second is a dead blood, then is a lump, and then that lump is going to be bones. And then the bones is closed with the flesh. That is absolutely laughable. So the Abdul, not only he do not know to tell us who's Allah, he just tell us he made you. You see, they cannot even tell you who's Allah. He's the one who made you. This the title of the video is Who is Allah? What the answer in the video? He made you. If the title was Who is the maker, I will understand. You say Allah. But then when we investigate that, we will find that Allah cannot be the maker because you do not know how you are made. And when he just said to us that science can discover contradictory, and then by time science will apologize. No, science will not apologize for this. Maybe for something else. It's possible, yeah. But the semen become dead blood. This is already passed long time ago. There's no need to discuss about it. According to science, a semen of a child, a semen of a man, can live for maximum 5 days. Maximum. According to your so-called prophet, the semen stay inside the Muslim women. The Muslim women, by the way, because Muslim women are different, maybe. They are made from different species. For 40 days. 40 days and 40 nights. But we know that this is absolutely false. And you notice that because Muhammad, he stuck with the number 40, you will find tons of stories in the Quran and the Hadith about 40, 40, 40, 40. He made the man created, associated with number 40. So, like at Dajjal, he stay in the earth 40. Allah, he dry Adam after he made him mud for 40 years. The Dajjal will stay in the earth for 40 years. The semen will enter the women and will stay inside the women for 40 days and 40 nights. He's stuck with 40. But we know that this is absolutely false. If we type here the word semen, you will find all of kind of Muhammad, he's delusional, copying what the Arab believe in that time and making it as it is coming from God. Here you see according to Muhammad, how the baby is created. Those all is authentic hadith. All of those. Muslim cannot say that any of those you see is not authentic, as you see Al-Bukhari, Muslim, etc. In fact, according to Muhammad, the angel he entered inside the semen. Can you believe it? If you read the translation, you will see how they lie to you. When a drop of semen remain in the womb for 40 or 45 nights, not only 40, it is 45 possible too. And we know this is absolutely false. Maximum is 5 days. The angel come and say, no, it says يدخل على النطفة, enter into the semen. Imagine the angel is inside your mama. Where? In her vagina. And then this angel, he speak to the semen and to Allah in the same time. So he say after he entered the vagina and he stand in the front of Mrs. Semen or Mr. Semen, he ask Allah, is it going to be good or evil, Allah? Which means the semen. Is it going to be what you want me to write down? Destiny. You see, this is the destiny. Allah writing destiny, which means if he is good, Allah wrote for him, right? He is good. He will be doing good. Destiny. You're gonna change it. If Allah told the angels write bad things, then this guy he would do bad things because Allah command destiny to be in such a way. And then the angel will say, oh my Lord, would be male or female according to the science of Muhammad. The last thing in the creation of the baby is male and female. And all of you can go right now and search and you will find that this is absolutely false. The gender is decided by the semen, not by an angel. You can ask your stupid ChatGPT if you don't believe me. So they give you speeches about Allah. Allah is the creator, Allah is the maker, Allah is etc. And Allah do not know a single simple things about how you are made. Kiman, are you a Muslim? Trinity, why you deleted the why you deleted the comment of Kiman? Let the Muslims make a comment, my friend. We want Muslims here. If a Muslim cannot answer, no problem. Let him have patient. Have patient. He's not killing us. You know, if he spam too much, take it easy. Kiman, you know, when we talk why I'm curious, well, I'm curious. Can you tell me who is your God? And why your God is saying something, like, as you see in the screen, I'm not making things up. This is your prophet talking. And this is stupid. So, aren't you curious to know why your God is stupid? Aren't you curious to know how come you believe in a God, he says stupid things? Is that really from God? Prove me wrong. Here we go. Get me all the reference of science and show everybody here that this is really true. That the last thing will be decided at the end of the creation of a baby is the gender. Can you show us? So as you see, if Allah is the creator, yeah, like we ask who is Allah, they say to us he's the creator. Even that is not true. Because there's no way Allah, He is a creator, and He tell Muhammad, because Muhammad now claiming that this is, he's something learned from Allah through the angel Jibreel. Muhammad here is not speaking of his own. Remember, he is speaking with the authority of being so-called prophet of Allah. So this is a knowledge he received supposedly from Allah. There's no way this knowledge can be wrong, supposedly. So how this is coming from God, and then this God, he says such a silly, stupid thing. Allah, He write your deed for you. So why He want to punish you in the day of judgment if He is the one who decide your bad deed or good deed? What kind of religion this religion is? So the stages of the creation is false. Semen does not live 45 nights. According to Muhammad, the semen will be collected. The semen will be collected inside the women womb 45 nights. The woman, she will keep having sex for 45 nights in order to have a baby, because she need to collect more semen, and that semen will become a big semen, like a snowball, you know. But science says it's just one. Who need 45? So this woman, the semen is collected inside her womb, and the same semen enter the first day or the semen enter the last day, still alive. Until now, all of them, they are semen, according to Muhammad. Who in the world want to believe in such a thing? Do you? So who is Allah? They don't know. They are like a, you know, recording machine. They report the same thing. Look at this statement of Muhammad. Read it and laugh. And this is the Muslim translation, all right? This is the Muslim translation. This is not me talking. We used to sit with Abdullah. They mentioned a man together with aspect of his character. Abdullah said, "What would you think if you cut off his head? Would you be able to put it back again?" No. They replied, he said, "And his hand?" No. They said, "And his foot?" He said, "No." Okay. They said, "His foot?" No. They said, okay, he said, "You cannot change his character until you change his physical form. The drop remain." The drop of what? The drop of semen. "Remain in the womb for 40 nights, and then the blood will become dead." What is this? Abdul, do you see the word here? "And then it become a blood clot. And then it become a lump flesh. And then Allah send an angel and He record His provision." So they are asking, they are saying, if you cut his head, if you cut his hand, if you cut his foot, you cannot change that. Why? Because it's a destiny. And again, they are quoting Muhammad about how Allah created the human being and why he have this character, because it's a destiny. Allah, He wrote for him. But the funny part is that he is a semen, and then he become a blood, dead blood, and then the blood became hard blood, became a clot. This is your science. This is your prophet. Huh? Read this one too. The truthful, you see, look who is talking. The truthful, Muhammad is saying the truth. The truthful, the receiver of the truth, informed us, saying, "The creation of you, human, is gathered in the form of semen in the womb of your mother for 40 days. Then it become a clinging thing. Clinging, you know, like clinging. Do we have an Indian here? Clinging. You know, we will have a clinging. Alaqa. 40 days in the form of semen. Are you serious, Abdul? So this is your God. You know, you give us headache about him. You want to do jihad. You want to kill people to believe in him. Clinging. Are you sure not tingling? Then become a lump of a flesh like that. Oh wow, amazing Allah. So subhanallah. And Allah sent an angel who breathed life into him. It turned to be Allah don't create you. The one who breathed life into you is angel. Read it. Do you remember Mimi Hijab when he said, actually, why I want to tell you what he said? We can play it. Hold on.
The question is, can you have two subjects that are fully responsible, to a degree of 100%, fully responsible for the creation of one thing in its entirety? For example, can you have two mothers that are fully responsible, responsible for the production of one child? Fully responsible. I think even the transgender movement would raise their eyebrows.
Even the transgender movement, they will have their eyebrows up. But this is what his prophet said, this donkey. You see, this is why this guy don't dare to debate me. According to his prophet, Allah don't create a human being. The one who gave life to the human being is the angel. He is the one who breathed, as you see. The angel who breathed the life into it. What he breathed? Guys, do you see it? What the angel he breathed? Life. So who is the one who gave life in Islam? The angel. So what Allah does? This is a recording. You make a decision. This is a recording. No, this is not a recording, Mr. Smart Abdul. Do we have any Muhammadan? So who is Allah? Based on this, Allah is a fool. Or you have to say Muhammad is a fool. Which one? Choose one. Which one? Is it possible to have two mothers to create one creature in the same time? Even the transgender movement, they will have their eyebrows up. Mimi Hijab said, the hamburger boy, the hotel legs open. Even Mimi Hijab is making fun of his God, as you see. The one who gave life to the baby is not Allah, it's the angel. And the angel is breathing life. So what is the source of life in Islam? Where the source of life is coming from? From the angel, as you see. Who created Adam then? The angel, not Allah. Right? Do we have any Muhammadan? They will give you speeches. Allah created this. Allah created the mountains. I mean, if you read how Allah created the mountain, you will die laughing. According to the Quran, Allah created the mountain by placing the mountains in the top of the earth. But we know this is absolutely false. Allah, He placed mountains in the top of the earth so He can fix it. And then the Muslim, they will say, do you know that mountains help with balancing the earth? Abdul, this is the earth balancing itself. But there's no science says that mountains are placed in the top of the earth. The mountains are coming from inside the earth. The mountains is formed either by the pressure of two tectonic plates or by a volcano. Choose one. Either this or that. Like when you go to the Himalaya, that is happening because there is a tectonic plates and they are meeting each other and there's a pressure, so keep hitting each other, and that will cause the two plates make an appearance up by the pressure. Volcano can do the same. But there's no scientist in the world will say there's a mountain came from the sky and landed in the earth, because if that happened, that will destroy the earth. If we say a rock in the size of a mountain fell, let us say, from the sky, what will happen to the earth? Well, the whole earth will be destroyed. If a rock in the size of 1 kilometer, just 1 kilometer, fell on the earth and we're able to hit it at that size, that will be the biggest disaster for the earth. Millions of people would die, if not 100 million. So what is this about? How this can be from God? Who is Allah, Muslims? Do we have any Muhammadan would like to join us in Discord? So he can win the Nobel Prize, which Trump he could not get. I can give it to you. You know, the Nobel Prize of Science of Allah. How Allah knew those things? You know, he must be true God, because only true God knew those things.
Will then be in conformance to what was revealed. So Allah says, we're going to show this to you as time passes. That's not my topic today, but going back to who made me. So number one is I have to admit someone made me. Number two is he cannot be like me. It's not like me, because time has passed, millions and billions have been on earth, and they have advanced, and with their advancement every year we are more and more well acquainted with our bodies, our limbs, and so on, more and more findings. So we're progressing, we're advancing. With that advancement, nobody has created a human being, subhanallah, exactly as we are. So I know that it's not someone like me, and because I'm the most sophisticated of the creation at the moment, I believe in the Quran. So I am going to tell you, the Quran says, you, O man, have been created in the best of postures. Allah says, we created you in the best of postures.
Muslims, the Quran says that, right? The Quran says that. Do we have any Muslim would like to join us? How Allah he says such a stupid thing when Allah is the one who says he make you bad? How you are the best? He created you as best when Allah created you as a worst. Isn't the Quran teach you destiny? How you can be the best when your destiny make you the worst? According to the Quran, Adam he commits sin because he is doing the destiny of Allah. How is that is the best? When we talk about the best, are we talking about image? Are we talking about knowledge? Are we talking about ethic? Whatever you choose, Allah failed. Because according to the Quran, Allah, when he created a human being, he decided for him, before he created him, 40 years actually, he decided for him to be bad. Who is the first human being created? For sure, Muhammad is copying the story from the Christians, Adam. If we go to the story of Adam, we will find the following. Was Adam created in the best way? I can say yes if the Muslim don't believe in Islam. But the Muslim believe in Islam, and they believe in what we see in front of us. Allah destined for Adam, if you read with me carefully here, this is about a debate between Adam and Moses. And this is Sahih al-Bukhari, which is very authentic in Islam, supposedly. According to Muhammad, Muhammad is a time traveler. He believed that Moses and Adam were exist in the same time. Moses argued with Adam and said to him, Adam, you are the one who got the people out of paradise by your sin. By what? By your sin. Remember, Allah created you in the best way, right? And thus made them miserable. Adam replied, O Moses, you are the one whom Allah selected for his message and for his direct talk. Allah talked to Moses, and this is a story taken from the Bible. You blame me for a thing which Allah has ordained for me before He created me. So how Allah, He created the perfect human being and He made him sin, not Adam he commits sin. You see, I can say, well, God created Adam in a perfect way and He gave him a free will. So he's a perfect, independent human being. He can believe, he can disbelieve, he can do good, he can do bad. Another way, God created Adam and He gave him the freedom as if God have a freedom, like God have a freedom to be whatever He wants. So He made him a free person. He perfected him, but this is not in Islam. In Islam, Adam is made with defect of destiny, which is, as we see, sin. So can you blame me for a sin which Allah ordained for me? In fact, different hadith says 40 years before Allah created me. 40 years. And according to Muhammad, Adam overcome Moses by this argument. How that can be from God? Huh? And you will see this story repeated over and over again. And this is very authentic. The Muslim cannot say this is not true. They cannot say this is a fabrication of a Christian prince, or they cannot say this is da'if as usual, because Islam, all of it is da'if. Do you blame me for what is written in my fate? Adam said. So the sin of a human being, according to Islam, is a destiny and never was a choice. So how you say that Allah, He created you in a perfect way when He destined you to be bad? He destined the first man to be bad. And Muhammad, he confirmed that. And the funny, by the way, here, Moses, obviously, the Muslim, they keep saying Moses was a Muslim. But Moses, obviously, he believed in the original sin, because original sin says Adam was a sinner. And we inherited the result of that, the same nature. This hadith, actually, all of them, they prove that Muhammad is a fool. And he proved to us that Moses never was a Muslim. Because in order for a Moses to be a Muslim, he should agree with Adam and Muhammad. But based on the story you see in front of your eyes, Moses never agree with Muhammad, neither agree with Adam. Yeah, I read all pages, don't worry. Discord, Rumble, read everywhere. I'm a multitask person. However, I ignore text sometime unless there's a Muslim saying something. Do we have any Abdul? So who is Allah? All this speech is about who made you. I can say Trump, he made you. I mean, imagine we ask them who is Allah. They say, brother, sister, he is the one who created you, brother, sister. Like, what's wrong with you? Who is Allah? They don't know. They have no idea who is this person. They call him Allah. You know, there's many kind of animals. They, even if they don't have food in the front of them, you will see them, they keep chewing. And we know why, right? Those animals, they have like additional stomach where they store food and they bring the food to eat later. So like now you are not giving them food and they keep chewing. This is what the Muslims are about. They have additional stomach. They keep repeating the same thing. It's like a cow. Who's Allah? It's obvious Allah cannot be God, because Allah, if he is God, cannot be ignorant and stupid. Allah cannot be someone is godly and he have no logic, and he is not justice, because this is not justice. Why Allah made Adam commit sin? Any Muslim can tell me? Why he forced him to commit sin? So Allah created Adam, he put him in heaven, and then Allah, before he created Adam, 40 years before he created him, he said to himself, you know what, I'm going to make a movie. I will create an actor, his name is Adam. His wife, she have a big butt, her name is Eve. And I will send someone to deceive them. I will call him Satan. And I will make Adam agree with Satan. And this scenario, Hollywood movie, written 40 years before the creation of Adam. And as you see, Muhammad is stuck with 40 years. The semen stay inside the water moon for 40 years. You know the story of Ali Baba and the 40 thief? Do we have any Muhammadan here? So Allah wrote a scenario movie that I'm going to create this person, his name is Adam, I will make a wife for him, and I will force him to commit sin so I can get angry from him, and then I will kick him out. I will send him other actor, his name is Shaitan. Shaitan will mislead them. So now I gave the scenario to Shaitan to do exactly. I programmed the Shaitan, I program Adam, I program Eve, and now I will kick you out of heaven, and now you have to pray for me so I can forgive you. Have you ever heard of such a stupid story like this before? Huh? Any Abdul? Anyone? Who is Abdul would like to join us? I'm always afraid of Abdul because they are so smart, so fast, so knowledgeable, and they have destiny inside them. So if you are defeated by Christian Prince, my friend, don't worry about it. It was destiny. If you lose a debate with a Christian Prince, don't worry about it. It was Allah's destiny. Blame nobody except Allah. It's your destiny to be demolished by me. So why you are worried? Seriously, why you are so worried? It's destiny. In fact, according to your religion, every word I'm saying now is destiny. Can you believe it? Your God, Allah, He wrote my bad deeds and the good deeds. And obviously, in my case, according to Islam, I have nothing but bad deeds. So anything I say to you now is written to me by Allah. It's not enough that your God, Allah, He says that the name of every woman ever written over her vagina. I mean, imagine there's a God. He tell women that any man he will sleep with you, his name is written as a destiny by Allah, by a secret ink in your vagina. This is your God. This is the one we ask you, who is Allah? And I'm sure now many Muslim women, they will start opening their legs and they have the magnifier trying to find the names. Don't worry, you will not find my name there. You might find the name of Muhammad Hijab. Look for the logo hamburger or McDonald's. Next to it, you will find Muhammad Hijab. The name of the one who will sleep with you written on your vagina. I mean, is that the most modern yellow pages? What if a woman, she is a hooker? How many pages will be written there? And this is God. A hooker from Thailand. How many names are written in her vagina? Let me flip the pages. Abdul, number one. Mohammed, Ahmed. I mean, this woman, she can take the whole town for a ride. This is your God. This is the one you give us speeches about him. He do not know how the baby is made. He do not know how the mountains are made. He think the sun set in a muddy boiling water. And he think that Adam don't have testicles. In fact, according to the Quran, semen does not come from testicle. It comes from the backbone of the man. And women, they have semen and it's coming from the ribs. And that's why I'm single. I'm scared. I mean, have you ever heard of a religion teach that women's breast is balls? And those women, they are lying to us. And the man, like, you know, he go to the bedroom with his wife and he take off his clothes. He look at his balls and he look at his wife balls. And man, they are so bigger. I mean, you better put your pant again. Turn the light off. What kind of God he teach that women, they have balls and they are located in the upper side of their chest? And this is where semen coming from. Women have semen since when? Abdul. This is the creator. He teach you that women have semen, huh? It must be true. It must be true, right? Look at this.
Now let's discuss the prophecy of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the New Testament.
Yeah.
As far as the Christians are concerned,
yeah,
whatever is mentioned in the Old Testament, they have to believe because that is part of the scripture, that's part of the Bible.
That's it.
And Allah says in the Quran in Surah Araf, chapter number 7, verse number 157, they follow the unlettered prophet, which is mentioned in the law and gospel.
Lord have mercy. Give me a second. By the way, I was going live with some brothers and sisters in Patreon, and I was walking, and some of them, they saw my shadow. Who of you saw my shadow? Anyone? Who did see my shadow? Do you know the miracle of the shadow in the Quran? Amazing. Why your shadow is way taller than you? Anyone knows? A mystery no science or scientist can explain except Allah. Look. Have you not seen how your Lord spread your shadow? In fact, does not say spread. It says madda. He extend, make it tall. How in the world can happen? Had he willed, he will make it fixed. And he made the sun its guide. That's deep. And they were telling me, CP, we saw your shadow. I was like, what? Are you serious? Did you see the shadow which Allah extend? If you change the translator, by the way, you will find different translation. I mean, these Muslims, every Abdul, he have a translation for the same verse. but differently. Sit down, act differently. Allah, He extended the shade, the shadow. Hast thou not turned the vision to the Lord? How He does prolong the shadow? How? How He do that? Hey, Abdul, I can have a shadow of my finger in the front of a candle, not necessarily the sun. It's going to be so big. I mean, I can finger, I don't want to use the middle finger, don't take me wrong, any finger, just your imagination, put it in the front of a candle, a dark room, and you will see how big your finger. Had Allah will, miraculous. Who can deny that? Do we have any Abdul from the religion of the fools to come and debate us? Zakir Naik is the one have answer for anything. Brother and sister, they're the person in the Christian friends. Everybody made fun of me. First of all, he's lying. Secondly, he's lying. Number three, he's lying. Number four, he's lying. Zakir Naik, okay, I'm lying. Give me the answer, refute me. Get the breath. First of all, it's very easy to refute you. But because it's very easy, I'm not going to do it. Like, oh, Abdul, as long as it's so easy, why you don't do it? Get the breath. First of all, you are so stupid. It said in the book of destiny that it's my destiny not to refute you. It's your destiny not to refute me. Abdul, is it your destiny to be so skinny and so stupid? Brother sister, it's mentioned in the Old Testament and the New Testament, the name of the Prophet Muhammad. And the Abdul, after taking the mushroom, but not the mushroom I eat, the mushroom which make you high. They go in the street, subhanallah, it's mentioned in the Bible, the name of a Prophet Muhammad in the New Testament. I can show it to you. Abdul, are you sure? I mean, I cannot find your prophet in your Quran. In fact, I challenge you to tell me who is Muhammad in the Quran. Who is a Muslim can tell me who is Muhammad according to the Quran. No answer. There's nowhere in the Quran says who is this guy. Can you believe it? In the Quran it says who is this guy, Isa. Even though the information is wrong according to the Quran, Isa is the son of Maryam, a woman, her name is Maryam, and her father is the father of Moses, Amran. This is why if you go to the stupid Quran, you will find the chapter of Amran. The chapter of Amran speak about who? This is Amran, the father of Musa. Suddenly he become the father of Mary. I mean, do you see the stupidity? The family of Amran. who is the... Who are they? Moses, Mary, Aaron. Look, read it. Those are the family of Amran, brother. So smart. Do we have any Abdul from the religion of the fool? He can get us busted. Anyone? Amran, huh? إن الله اصطفى آدم ونوحا وآل إبراهيم وآل عمران على العالمين. شنو هذا؟ شنو هذا؟ Allah, He chosen Adam, you stupid idiot. Adam is the first man. He chose him from who? My mom, she told her neighbor, my son is #1 in his classroom, but she forgot to tell her that I am the only student there because there's no teacher will take me. So Allah, He chosen Adam. There was many Adam and He decided to take this one, you know, as an example. I mean, is that the smart, amazing author? Guys, I created an ant. It was only one ant. And then I decided to choose this ant between all the ants. But there is only one ant. It's set up. If there's an ant in your pant, I choose this ant and that's it. Don't ask me questions. There's only one Adam. So he chose an Adam from who? They go, they find people who do not know anything about Islam to debate them. Here they go mute. Potatoes. I do not need to watch stand-up comedy when CP is cooking Abdul's. By the way, I'm doing it sitting down. You know, I don't like, actually, even if I do a seminar, I don't like to stand up. I wear, I bought a new shoes, and the last seminar I wanted to do, I mean, they were hurting me bad. You know, my feet, they get hot so fast, and this shoes was making my feet really hurt. You know, when I bought it, the guy in the store told me, it's going to hurt you for the first 3 days. I said, okay, I'm an Arab, I'm smart. I'm not going to wait for the first 3 days. Why would I hear it? I mean, it's going to hurt me the first 3 days. So I did not wear it for the first 3 days. He lied to me. I wear it in the fourth day, still is hurting. Sound like Allah is very much connected to me. He chose an Adam. The same as I chosen my shoes to be worn 4 days. In the fourth days, not in the first 33 days, because they hurt. Very smart. And then Allah, after he chose in Adam, he chose who? The family of Ibrahim. Abdul, hold on. The family of Ibrahim chosen. And then the family of Imran. Isn't it Imran from Ibrahim? Like when you choose Ibrahim, aren't you choosing everybody from Ibrahim? Al, first, is not an Arabic word. This is an Aramaic word. And by the way, this is exposed the Quran about the Pharaoh. Because the stupid Quran teach that Pharaoh, his name is Pharaoh. The guy, his name is Pharaoh. The same as Abraham, his name is Abraham. In fact, the Quran, some places call Abraham, sometimes call it Ibrahim. The new Quran versions, they took Abraham. They took it off. And this can be recorded in the chapter of Al-Baqarah, the cow, which is very unique chapter. You know, I like it. I like ground beef. Like actually yesterday, I ate a ground beef. Yeah, today actually. Hold on, sorry. And even the names of the Quran is very funny. Like why they call it, why they call the chapter of the cow the cow? Huh? Because Allah, He is, you know, unique, very unique. According to Allah, you can resurrect somebody from death if you beat him, the dead man, with beef. That's why I keep beef, you know, very beefy beef. If I die, just hit me, you know. So Moses, the Jews, they came to him and they says, hey Moses, Habibi Moses, Shalom Habibi, Habibi Moses, you know, we have someone from Hamas here, Habibi, he died and he killed somebody, and we want to find out the name of the guy who killed Habibi. So Moses told Allah, Allah, Habibi, Allah, how we can make this dead Hamas guy come back to life? Allah told him in Hebrew, by the way, he told him, listen to me, you go bring a cow and you cut it pieces and get the penis and hit the dead Hamas, and then he will come back to life. It worked. It worked. Moses, he got the penis of the cow. Hamas guy stand up. He asked him, who is your boss? He named the boss. He gave the location. He gave the phone number. He gave the address and died again. True story. It's in front of you. Read it. And according to Allah in the Quran, this is how Allah resurrect people from death. How? By beating them by beef. And this is the description of the beef, the cow, by the way, not any cow. It have to be a special beefy cow. Do we have any Abdul from those who believe in the fool? Huh? If you go to the CIA, you know, like you might ask yourself, why the CIA, they bring a dead Osama bin Laden to the ship after they killed him? Very easy. They hit him with the beef, He woke up again. He come back to life. They took all the names and the address of Al-Qaeda, and he died again. It doesn't cost much, like 2 kilograms of beef, and one is, the spine. And yeah, Abdul, this is God, the religion of God. This is how Allah, He raised people from death, by beating them by beef. Why Jesus did not use beef? Any Muslims? How come Muhammad did not have the power of beef? I'm afraid to use this verse, by the way, because that will make the Hindu convert to Islam. I mean, if I tell them that the chapter of the cow, Baqarah mean cow, by the way. If I tell them the biggest chapter of the Quran is the cow chapter, the Hindus will become Muslims. Modi himself, he's a Modi, and he's wicked. That's why he support Putin. He will, he will convert to Islam if he knew that the chapter of the cow. I mean, they love the cow. Cow, don't misestimate the power of the cow. As you see, Allah Himself cannot do it without the cow. Do we have any cow follower? Who is the one who resurrect the dead man, the cow or Allah? I challenge any Muslim to tell me what is the relationship between the cow beating and Allah. What happened? Why we need a cow to beat the dead guy? Is that a story Muhammad he took from the Old Testament? Maybe any Muslim, or maybe from the Jewish stories? I mean, everything Muhammad he say is coming from somewhere. We can find you where it's coming from, so we can love. Then Abdul. Until now, they could not tell us who is Allah. Who is Allah? Look at this guy. He have a broom in his face. He will give you a speech about Allah created, brother, your nose.
Day being the day that we meet with him. I, for one, am very excited of the day that I'm going to be meeting my maker. Subhanallah. Imagine meeting he who made you and made creation.
Okay, hold on. You Muslims are very weird and have a mental issue. How the Quran says nobody can see Allah, and then you say you will see Allah. Can we see Allah or we will not see Allah? Like for us, we have no problem. God, He humbled Himself so we can see Him. Nobody can see God the way He is, and He live. Are you saying that Allah, when He see you, He will not look the same He is? Let us make it simple. Are you saying that Allah will humble Himself and He will become a man like Jesus so you can see Him? You see, don't ask questions to Muslims, because the second you ask questions, if this guy is talking to me, he will be in his panty. He will be in his bikini in 2 seconds. And talking about seeing Allah, if you go to the hadith, you will find a very funny story mentioned by Muhammad, that Allah, He will play hide and seek with them in the day of resurrection. According to Muhammad, Allah, in the day of resurrection, He will show Mufti Menk his shin. Mean. He told that he heard Allah Messenger say, our Lord will uncover his leg, hairy leg, and every believing man and woman will fall in the prostrating before his leg, not him. He Muslims, Allah will show you his leg. Is that a striptease show? Are you sure? Allah will uncover his leg? Which one? Only one? Ah, he lost the other one in Afghanistan war. A Muslim saying to me, I can notice hearing Christian Prince cherry picking verses. Are you saying to me that the Quran and the Hadith have cherries? You know what that means? That means it have poo-poo. So you are saying to me, Christian Prince is looking for the poo-poo in the Quran. I agree. You just admit it. Guys, look what this Abdul said. Brother and sister, Christian Prince is the student the cherry picking. But that means there's a cherry. You just admitted that your book is full of poo-poo. And you are saying that Christian Prince is looking for the poo-poo and he put it for us on the table. But that will not change the fact that your book is full of poo-poo. So is that my fault? Is it my fault or the one who made the poo-poo? You have to question who is the one who made this poo-poo. This is your prophet. Who is the one who said Allah will show his leg? Muhammad. And you say to me, he's a chosen cherry. Are you saying the leg of Allah is one of the cherry of Muhammad? Hmm? Who is a Muslim can tell us why Allah is doing a striptease show? And what do you mean Allah will uncover his leg? We will not see his butt? Like what? He is wearing jalabiya? Abaya? Brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters. One day, Allah will come to you. Yes, He will come to you. And He will show you. He will show you. But do you know what He will show you? His leg. Commercial break. If you are looking for socks and you like to wear women's socks which can be see-through and very sexy, please call us immediately. We have a nice collection and lingerie come with it. Be fitted with the majesty of Allah, because Allah is a striptease God, specialist with legs. End of commercial. And covering the leg of Allah. Close your eyes. Imagine a big, huge woman, and she have very beautiful legs like a camel. Very big. Her feet will make you feel like you are in defeat. So beautiful. So beautiful. Commercial break. Muslims, please stop touching yourself. I was talking about the leg of Allah. If you like to touch yourself, we have a special video for you. Call right now and rotate porn of Allah. End of commercial break. I mean, this is religion. And they say to us, how you believe that God is a man? And then their God is, what the heck is this? Allah is doing striptease showing us his leg. What about your butt? I mean, why you, what do you mean? You know, do you know that the legs is connected to the butt? So Allah will wear a bikini, so he will uncover, like he's wearing panty, huh? This is what I say, his leg. We will see all his leg. And what happened to the other leg? Only one leg. Oh, hold on, maybe we have a Muslim. Vespers, are you a Muslim? Do we have any Muhammad in here? This is a religion of God. Who is Allah? They don't know. This funny, weird, cartonic God who have a big butt, and according to them, according to Muslims, according to Muhammad, he sit in the top of a rooster. I mean, I heard of a cowboy, I heard of a cowgirl, I heard of a man riding, you know, like even Jesus, he ride a donkey because he's humble. But the God of Islam, he ride a rooster. Why? Don't ask me. Cuckoo, cuckoo. And they say to you, Allah is majestic. Yet he is in the top of a rooster, and this rooster, his feet is in the ground. Don't take me wrong. I like roosters, but I'd stop growing them because once me and my neighbor, we were fighting over, you know, what happened simply, the rooster, me and my neighbor, both we are Arab and we are smart. So the rooster, he lay one egg on the wall between me and my neighbor. So we were fighting that this egg belonged to who? My rooster or his rooster? I will leave, you know, the answer for you. Be fair, please, when you judge. Because we believe in Allah, and Allah is also smart. Rooster, huh? The God who sat in a rooster. I mean, at least make it a duck. Goose. Do we have any Abdul? And don't tell me I'm lying, otherwise I will shoot you with the evidence and the reference. Rooster don't lay eggs? Are you serious? Guys, this guy, he shocked me. Sorry, guys, I my lie did not work then. But no, it was a rooster, but from different family, you know. They are a special Islamic family. Yeah. This is true story. I have witnesses. Jibreel was there. Do we have any Muhammadan would like to join us? Come on, Mehdi, not a single Abdul. Who is Allah? Who is Allah? The God with one leg? So he have a shin, he have a leg, he have 5 fingers, he have I don't know, I mean, you have all kind of physical. He's a physical creature. And when this guy, he speak about seeing Allah, in fact, Allah will change his shape in the day of judgment, and the Muslim will throw rocks at him because they don't like his shape. I can show you the reference. Any Abdul? Who is a Muslim would like to join us? Come on. If you are a Muslim and you like to join us, please feel free. Anyone? CP, God, racism. Don't talk about racism. According to your prophet, he is the best of mankind, and his family are the best of mankind, and the Arab are the best of mankind. Do you want me to show you the reference? Do you want me to show you? Nobody racist in the world as your prophet. Am I making things up? Nobody in the world is racist. I can show you from your book. It says the one who said the prophet is black, kill him. Why they want to kill him? Muhammad isn't black. Because that is an insult according to the Muslims. According to your religion, Allah created the black people to go to hell. I can show you the reference right now. And he created the white people to go to heaven. According to your religion, Allah considered the Asian the enemy of Allah, and they are Gog and Magog, and they are not a human being. Is that true? Or I'm making things up? I mean, the story of Gog and Magog is so beautiful. How Allah knew all this information? Sometimes you wonder. It's so good. You know, once upon the time, I went to Gog and Magog town. You know, I met with Gog. You know, he looked funny, by the way. I mean, like he was speaking to me like as if he is coming from Pakistan. You know, you know the thing. You know, like how they speak from Pakistan. Huh? Look, this is Gog. Let me introduce you, Mr. Gog. Do you see Gog? Hey, Gog, how you doing? Look, even it says there next to his name, Gog. And those are his kids. I mean, this story alone is enough to make us die laughing. According to Muhammad, Gog, you see, the Gog and Magog mentioned in the Bible, by the way. But it's not, you know, there's a kingdom and there's a king. And Muhammad, he make it nation, they are Gog. I mean, just an idiot. He can't even copy a story correctly. According to Muhammad, this Gog, he can if non-stop and make 1,000 baby before he die. 1,000. So imagine what is the population of Gog now compared to the human being, because if we make one according to Muhammad, if a human being make one baby, Mr. Gog and his tribes, they will make 1,000 each one of them. So we will be 1 to 1,000 increase, and then calculate the number, because then the 1,000 they will make each one of them 1,000. It's like we're talking about rats. Where we can find them? This is Allah, and those are his stories. And then you come to me and you give me a speech about the Creator. Any beautiful, smart Abdul? Anyone? You see, I'm not lucky. I go live, I don't see Abdul want to debate me. They want to debate everybody except me, because they knew they are going to win if they debate me. They would debate you, but not me, because, you know, you are strong, I'm weak. They want to debate an American person who do not know Islam. They want to debate anyone who don't know Arabic, anyone who do not know the laundry of Muhammad. One of the most lovely thing about Muhammad, that he have a lot of lies. Once upon the time, there was a Muslim, his name is Abdullah. He came to the microphone. I was in a chat room called Paltalk program. He said, "A Christian prince, you Christians are dirty, you are full of lies." I said, "Are you saying that the one who have lies is very dirty?" He said, "Absolutely." Yes, yes. Are you kidding me? For sure. Because if you wash, you will not have lice. And then I said, "Are you sure that the one have lice is very dirty?" He said, "Christian Prince, are you stupid? Science prove it." And then I put for him on the screen, his prophet was full of lies. In a second, he changed his position. In the story, and in the case of a prophet Muhammad, he have lies not because he is dirty, but Allah blessed him with the lies. Allah, he blessed Muhammad with lies. What else? What about the fly fell in his soup and he kept drinking? Allah blessed him with that fly. Okay. What about Muhammad penis don't work? And then he invoked Allah to fix his penis. Allah blessed him with weak penis. Okay. What about Muhammad died by poison? Women she bought from Walmart at that time, because Walmart was exist in the time of Muhammad in Mecca, and I have reference, for 50 cents, and she killed him. Allah blessed him with that poison. Okay. What about Muhammad lost his teeth because somebody hit him in his mouth? Allah blessed him. Blessed him, you said? I mean, blessed him. Blessed him. I thought you said blessed him. Because based on this story, your prophet, he speak like Zakir Naik. With them print, faith of all you are so stupid. Prophet Muhammad not be like me. Zakir Naik, he lost all his teeth. How he can pronounce words? Get them print very easy. He can put his fingers and he can speak as he with. Like Zakir Naik, he lost his. And by the way, how your prophet used to kiss Aisha without his teeth? Get the print. You are so stupid. What kissing have to do with teeth? I don't know. You tell me. I have a reference about your prophet biting women. Get the breath. First of all, this is a weak reference. I agree with you because Muhammad don't have teeth, so this is a weak bite. What the heck is that? Gog and Magog, flying carpet. The ant is talking to Solomon. Solomon, he if 99 women, and then he forgot to say, Inshallah. Unbelievable. I mean, this idiot, he if 99 women. Different hadith says 100. Muhammad cannot even fix a number. One he says 70, one he says 60, once he say 99, one he say 100. I can show the reference. And then after all this ifing the whole night, I mean, how a person can if 100 women in one night? I cannot do it. I can do maybe, 98 and a half, maybe, 97 and a half, maybe. I mean, if I eat honey, maybe 99. How in the world should it? Okay, hold on. What is the calculator? He Muslims. The guy, he did boom, boom to 100 women. And he could not make one of them have a baby. Any Abdul? Who's Abdul? Would like to join us. Anyone? Potato. Big mouth. Any Muhammadan? No Muhammadan. Very powerful. Hmm. You know, the Muslims, because they have a very Powerful religion. They don't want to debate me. It's powerful already. And their prophet, he proved to be a prophet of God already. That's why they want to debate me. Hmm. And Abdul, Mayday, Mayday. All right. Well, look like, we stuck with Gog and Magog. And, according to scientific study, we are the Arab, we are the most smart people in the world. And this is why one day we will have control of the whole earth. Why? Because those stupid people, they will go to the moon and they will go to Mars and we will stay here. We'll take over. This stupid Elon Musk, he will go to Mars and we will take the whole earth. Okay, go to Mars, go. We are the smartest. We have a God who will dance for us and show us his shin. And he called himself he, but he don't have a penis. And he explained to us why he cannot have a son, because he don't have a girlfriend. It's so smart. And he explained to us science, how the baby is made, which is a very hilarious, beautiful hilarious. We'll die laughing reading it. And then he explained to us where the sun goes. And then after he explained all of this, he sat in the top of a rooster. And then he received a message from his prophet that his penis is not working. He go to his kitchen, he make a dish of shish kebab, he sent it with the angel Jibril. Angel Jibril, he sent it very fast. It took him 2,000 years to come down to the earth. According to the Quran, it take the angel 1,000 years to go and 1,000 years to come. So how Muhammad, he asked Allah for beef, and the angel he brought the second day. If the Quran says it take the angel 1,000 years to come with, oh, not you. I know you Muslims. We say come, you think about, So Muhammad, he prayed to Allah. Allah sent him a dish of shish kebab. Yet the Quran says it take the angel 1,000 years to go up and 1,000 years to come down. Which means if the Muhammad story is true, it's going to take 2,000 years to receive his dish of shish kebab. Amazing. The story of Muhammad match the story of Muhammad. He arranged every affair from heaven to earth. Then 8 affairs will go up to him in a day, the space whereof is 1,000 years of your recounting. Recounting. I don't know if I'm saying the word correctly. Excuse my English. Yet Muhammad, he received the dish of shish kebab second day. How would it take the angel 1,000 years just to go up and 1,000 years to come down? So based on this, if Muhammad, his penis did not function at that time, until now, his dish did not arrive. He cannot arrive because it's just 1,400 years. He have to wait 600 years more. Because remember, the angel was down on earth. He received the request of Muhammad. He will take the request of Muhammad to Allah, 1,000 years. To come back, 1,000 years. Not to mention how many years it's going to take Allah to cook the dish. And what kind of God? He cannot fix his prophet penis without shish kebab. Isn't it you Muslim, you say if Allah wants something to be, he say be is going to be? Okay, hey, be good penis. Penis. Go be good penis. Allah could not do it. He have to make a dish of shish kebab. And do you, Muslim, seriously, do you read your books? When Muhammad, he says, I was the most weak person between all mankind, in intercourse. Huh? By the way, how people they found out that he was the most weak person in intercourse, and how he found out that? Like, do you must have used to have sex in the front of each other? Like, you notice that you are like really, your thing is like see, huh? How Muhammad was able to find out that? And then Allah, he sent him the dish of al-kufayt. Muhammad, he ate it, he got the power of 40 men. And how he measured this power? And according to Muhammad, the kufayt come to him each time, like it doesn't even fix it. It's temporarily Viagra. Each time he want to do boom, boom, Allah send it to him between 15 to 20 minutes. As you see here in the hadith. This is the book of Fayd al-Qadir, and this is hadith number 4626. Muhammad said, I was the most weak person between all mankind until Allah sent me shish kebab.
6426. I was one of the people who had the least sexual intercourse until God revealed to me the sufficiency.
Translation is not correct. Kufayt is kufta. Kufta, you know kufta? Yeah, this is kufayt. And he said, each time I requested, it come to me in 15 to 20 minutes. Now the word sa is used as a word mean 1 hour. But in the old days, it was for 15 to 20 minutes. So each time Muhammad wanna if one of his wives, Allah sent him a dish of al-kufayt. He banged it. I mean, he ate it. He if them.
I did not want it for an hour, but I found it, and it was a pot of meat.
See? Muhammad penis not working. Allah sent him a dish of meat. Miracle, miracle. The power of beef. I should not share this one with you. You guys will make now the beef so expensive. It's already expensive in USA. Now all the men here, they will start buying beef. Don't fool yourself. This is a beef coming from Allah. This is from the cow of Allah. Allah, he have a butcher. He's a butcher. He have a butcher house in the heaven. He butchered the cow, special cow. Those are just for semen and for sex. This is not a normal cow. You know? Yeah. This cow from a good family, from Cowbacino. You know, Cowbacino is very well known. You know, the Chino? Cow and Chino, they get married, the grandfather, and then they have Cowbacino, and then they put them together. You will find them like a very famous name. You eat the Cowbacino, and then your penis like, I mean, unbelievable. It's like a rocket. But by the way, don't take it. Be careful. If you have heart problem, you might die. It's so too much. It's so powerful. Your wife might not handle it. I'm warning you. Disclaimer, disclaimer. Don't go to YouTube and says the guy, he told us to buy beef and then this will work, and then you buy it and then your penis is all over the place. Break in the window, go into the roof of your neighbor, hitting the eye of somebody in the street. You know, they might accuse you of assassination of a president with your penis. It's so powerful. Yeah, the police, they might arrest you. This is why you have this between your legs. You say, this is a penis. They say, this is not a penis. This is a rocket. This is an RBG. Hey, Muslims, your prophet was the least in effing in the whole world. And then Allah, he sent him a dish of shish kebab. This is your Allah. So we ask you, who is Allah? You should say to us, the one who sent Viagra for penises. Why Allah did not say, hey, penis? The Quran says, if Allah wants something, he say B is going to be. Muhammad say no. Allah cannot fix my penis. In fact, he says, each time I want to have sex, Allah have to send me the same dish, which means it's not a permanent fix. It's temporarily. It's in the front of you. Each time he want to do it, Allah will send it to him in 20 minutes. Hello? Is that the pizza store? No, this is Jibreel. Yeah, come on. I cannot say it in front of my wife. Okay, can you get me some pizza? What's wrong with you? What wife? This is Jibreel, you idiot. What do you want? Listen, I cannot talk. It's my wife. She is listening. You know, hey, can you get us some pizza, please? Yeah, pizza. Just made the kofta. Yeah, you want to have sex? Oh, you are whispering. Oh no, honey, this guy, he is, he is not hearing me, so I was screaming at him. I told you why you are whispering. You told her I was screaming. Are you stupid? Listen, she can hear us. I don't want her to know. To know what? That is not working. What is not working? My thing. What is your thing? I mean, the the key. What? What key? Hijab, what's wrong with you? I thought you were smart. I told you I can't say the thing, you know? Are you sure you are not Joe Biden? You just said the thing. What do you mean the thing? Are you a person who believes that the thing created everything? I wasn't talking about that, man. Aisha, I'm coming. Yeah, take off your clothes. I'm coming. You Muslims, this is your God? Seriously? Huh? Your prophet, he ordered pizza each time he want to boom his wife? Are you sure? And he was the most weak person between all men. I mean, are you saying that he is even more weak than Lili Dawah? We are proud of it. By the way, somebody tell him to take some hormones so he can have a voice of a man. Seriously. What do you mean he was the most weak person in boom boom? And do his mom know? Oh, his mom, she was dead. I mean, he just told everybody. He just told everybody that he cannot do it. Unless Allah send him a dish of kebab. Read it. And this is the reference in front of you. Oh boy. Any Muslim would like to defeat me. Mayday, last call. Last call. Mayday, last call. I don't know. I'm really disappointed of you Muslims. I thought you believe in Allah and Allah in your side, so you will win anyway. What's wrong with you? Kimon, he's saying, I never trust what CP say. You eat it, I'm showing you your website. Guys, he don't trust what I'm saying. This potato in the chat in YouTube, he don't trust what I'm saying. This is not me who's saying that. This is your prophet saying that. This is not me saying that. This is your prophet. Hello? Let me give you the link. I don't trust what CP is saying. I will never trust CP. Obviously, you don't trust Allah and His prophet, not me, because the one who said that is your prophet. Enlarge? Don't speak dirty. I mean, already we're talking about enlarging. Guys, look at this gentleman there is asking me to enlarge. What's wrong with you? YouTube will shut us down. What do you mean enlarge? The whole story about enlarging and make it work. It's so small. It's not working. Mohammed, he start eating. It's growing. Aisha, I'm coming. Let me eat more. And then it's growing. Here we go. Now enlarge. Are you happy now? Here we go. You asked me to enlarge. I didn't enlarge it. I can't make it bigger than this. Sorry. This is the religion of God. Guys, imagine, God forbid me for God forgive me for saying that. Imagine Peter saying that. Imagine Paul saying that. I mean, Are you stupid Muslims? Imagine if this is in our book, what the Muslim will say. You remember the dad, he spoke about the Song of Songs, how filthy it is, the Song of Songs. And then somebody told him one day that in the Song of Song is the name of Muhammad. Suddenly, the Song of Song is holy. The name of Muhammad is there, Muhammadim. I mean, what happened? I thought it's filthy. He told them that you read this poetry for your kids. 2 years after, somebody told him Muhammadim is there. Suddenly, the Song of Song is Muhammadim, and so good, and so beautiful, and so holy, and so wonderful. For sure, the Song of Song is not filthy. It's a poetry. It has nothing to do with sex. Hello? It's me you're looking for. Abdul, I will make you better for. You know, better for is kind of cookies, by the way. CP want to be defeated. It's my dream. Please, Muslims, make my dream come true. Please. Anyone? Mayday, mayday. Who is here first time? If you are here first time, I say to you, I'm sorry for you. You will be addicted. You will keep coming. Your wife will divorce you. And she will complain. And she will make a restraint order against me in the court of law. She will force you not to get close to me. Because she will make you choose between either her or me. I mean, don't take me wrong. You're just listening to me, you know, like online. So you better leave. Because here it's a comedy, the comedy of Allah. We have all the laundry of Muhammad, and as you see, the Muslim Abdul, they cannot answer. And then they give us a speech about the Almighty God, Allah. Who created you, brother? Who created you, brother? It's obviously Allah. Look at this guy. Allah created you.
How beautiful that day is going to be when you know His names and His qualities. And I'm going to get to that, inshallah. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we believe this deity who made us, there is a supreme deity. And because He made us, we owe Him everything He wants from us. We owe it to Him because we're so helpless, we're going to return.
What? What? We are going to return what to Him? He owns us? Well, this is the God of slavery. He created mankind and a human being for one purpose, to worship me. And here you see that there's a huge difference between Christianity and the cult of Islam, if we can call it a cult. According to Allah, He created not human being and genie. By the way, genie is not a demon. Some Christians, they are confused. They think when the Muslims say genie, they are talking about demon. Genie, they have a penis, they have a butt, they eat, and they boom, boom. They are not a spirit, so don't be confused. Genie is a fictional creature copied from the Persian and Indian language or stories. So Allah did not create the jinn and the mankind except to worship Him. So what is the purpose of Allah creating you? Is that because Allah is a good God? No. He is lonely, suffering from being alone. And He needs people to beg Him every day. Beg Him, not to pray for Him. There's a huge difference, by the way. Because a prayer can be something beautiful. Like, let us say, a prayer can come as like a communication of love, you know? Like somebody speaking to his uh, beautiful wife or his beautiful mother-in-law, you know, especially. I say, I pray that you are healthy and you did not die yet, so we can inherit your apartment. I mean, just think about it this way. Allah, He wants the Muslims to pray for Him, to worship Him. He don't want anything else from them. He don't care for them. He did not create them for any other reason, as you see. And Muhammad, he made it clear. If you do not commit sin, if you don't commit sin, Allah will destroy you. It's a must. You see, the ideology and the garbage of Muhammad is so wicked. In the Bible, God, He punished nations. God, He made a flood because they are sinners, wicked. In Islam is the opposite. If you are wicked, you survive. Allah don't want good people. He want wicked people. If you don't believe me, I can show the reference. Let me show it to you. Read and laugh. And this is authentic, by the way. The Muslim cannot say this is weak, this is, this is garbage. As you see, all it says sahih, 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 sahih. All of this sahih, sahih, etc. All right? It's in front of you, all over the place. All is authentic. This one, it says da'if. Forget it. We will not show you something da'if. We will show you only what is authentic. Authentic. Muhammad, he swear by his fake God, saying, by him in whose hand is my life, if you were not to commit sin, Allah would sweep you out of existence, and He would replace you by those who would commit sin and seek forgiveness from Allah. This is the opposite of what Christ teach. Correct? This is totally the opposite of what the Bible teach. Because all the Bible teaches us that we are going to be punished for sin, not rewarded. Right? According to Muhammad, you are going to be rewarded for your sin. In fact, if you want to survive, you have to sin. If you are a good person, Allah will destroy you. Allah is so angry from you. And that will lead us to something very important. Based on this, who is Allah? Somebody tell me. Based in what you see in front of you, who is Allah? The devil. Isn't it clear? Muhammad is the devil. He is possessed by the devil, encouraging people to commit sin, otherwise you will be destroyed. Scaring the hell of them. If you are a good person, you will be destroyed. You will make Allah angry from you. There's no way Jesus will say such a thing. Why God destroy Sodom and Gomorrah? Why God did the flood? Why God, He promised heaven and hell? Why God kicked out Adam from heaven? Sin. Here, sin is the way to be with their God. Do you even need more reference to prove that Allah, aka Muhammad, is shaitan? Anyone want the reference? Who want the reference? It's in front of you. Sahih Muslim 2749. Anytime you see something in the screen, even if it's in Arabic, you can take a screenshot, and these days all phones, they have this option. You can search that screenshot in the internet and you will find the reference, even though you don't speak the language. And for me, this hadith alone is enough to prove to me that Islam is a satanic cult. And Allah is Satan, if He exists. Allah for me is Muhammad. Both are two names for one person, Satan. Satan have many names. Satan have many faces. And the Bible taught us to examine the spirit, to test the spirit of any creature come to you. If you claim to be an angel, if you claim to be God, if you claim to be a man, if you claim to be a prophet, and the spirit in front of us is a spirit of sin, a spirit encouraging us to commit sin, otherwise we will be killed, destroyed. In fact, what he's saying here, you will be sent to hell if you don't commit sin. What the Bible says to us, you will send to hell if you commit sin. What Jesus says to us, be holy like your Father. What Muhammad and Allah says to you, be filthy like Muhammad. How that can be from God? Right? Corvi saying, if Allah going to place Muslims sin into us, then this is make Muslims sinless. Is Allah going to pull them out of existence? Well, you know, Muhammad is a stupid person, so he is full of contradiction. If you think about that hadith, that in the day of judgment, Allah will put the sin of all Muslims on us. So why the Muslim they claim that Allah will not punish someone else for his sin? Isn't it the Muslim they say to you that why Jesus will pay for your sin? Is that fair? They say to you, is that fair? In fact, I say it's not fair. Well, it's not about fair. God love is what make it happen, not because it's fair. You know, when somebody he go to the war and then he die in the front line so his family live, is that fair? What about all of us, we die? But because this person, he love his family, he is willing to die so they can live. Because he live his country, he live his city, he love his city. So those men, they go to the front line to defend and they die. Is it fair that I am sitting here enjoying a drink or tea or coffee or food, and there's a guy defending me in the border so I will not die? It's not fair. And this is the difference between the false Islam and the true Lord. He's not going to take you to heaven because it's fair, because you commit sin already, but because he is loving God, he give you a chance to repent, and not because it is fair. If we talk about fair, not a single human being should go to heaven, because the second you commit sin, you are a sinner. And nothing can make you clean again. Muhammad himself, he confessed saying, كل ابن آدم خطاء. Every human being is a sinner. Every, including him. But not in the case of Jesus. So Jesus did not come to this earth because it's fair. It's not fair for Jesus to be in the cross. It's not fair to be humiliated. It's not fair to be insulted. This is the Son of God. This is the King of Kings. This is not fair. But because he loves us to the point nobody can explain, Even in the cross, he said, forgive them, Father, they do not know what they are doing. Look how loving he is. Imagine you are in the cross, you have putting nails in your hands, in your feet, they are throwing rocks at you, calling your names, insulting you. Even when you ask to drink, they give you vinegar. And what do? You are worried about them. You say, forgive them, Father. We cannot compare between the devil and God. And that's why the Bible says that we cannot yoke with unbelievers. We cannot marry from unbelievers because darkness and light cannot be under one roof. So either you will live under the roof of God, the true God, our Lord, or you will live under the roof of the devil and his religion like Islam and many other religions. Satan he established kingdom, and this kingdom had many doors. Hinduism, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, Krishna, potato, Islam, all is the same. All of them, they will lead to the same sink, to the disposal machine of Satan. Many doors, many colors, different names, different words, different languages. But it have always will lead you to one place. And what you see in the front of you, proving it. So I want to say thank you all for being here. I hope you guys, you have a good time with me. And if I could go tomorrow or the day after, etc., I will be here with you. And we pray to the Lord that the Muslims will hear us. We don't hate them. We are not teaching hate here, you know, and we will never do that. We feel sorry for you Muslims. But for how long we will feel sorry for you? Time will come and you will be going to hell. Time will come and you will wish you listen. Time will come and my Lord, the King of Kings, he will ask you, did he speak to you? Did you hear it? What you can say? You cannot lie to him. You decided to follow a wicked man, a dead man. You know what Jesus said? Let the dead bury the dead. You follow dead. We follow the living Jesus. Even in your stupid book, Jesus is alive. What is the logic to follow a dead man and not to follow the living Christ? And you cannot even answer why he's alive and Muhammad is dead and everybody is dead. Why only Christ have no father, born in a miracle, live as a miracle, called the word of God in your book, make the dead alive, make the blind see, make the one cannot walk, heal the one who cannot be healed. And yet, after all of this is not enough. No, he's alive. I mean, all the miracles he said, like if you go check the video of this guy, he said that Jesus, when he waved his hand, he do what? He just waved his hand. He healed thousands of people in front of him. He just waved his hand. He don't even touch them. And then Muhammad is sick. And then Muhammad is vomiting. And then Muhammad have a diarrhea. And then Muhammad cannot go to the bathroom. So we have the Messiah who people can be healed by waving his hand, according to your books. And we have Muhammad who died because of diarrhea and poison. And he cannot go to the bathroom. And he keeps fainting every 2 seconds. In fact, I used to call him when I was a teenage. When I speak to Muslims,
to him.
I say to him, oh, you are following the fainted prophet. He said to me, oh, prophet have miracles. I say, oh, is that the miracle of fainting? If you type the word faint, hold on. Fainted. What we will find? But what the heck? The prophet fainted. And how long he fainted? Every 2 seconds. The prophet of the Abdul, he was a fainting machine. Fainted, 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 how you do, how you do, how you do. Fainted, fainted, how are you, how are you, how are you? My prophet, he's faint. I mean, my prophet, he broke all the record number of fainting. I challenge you to find me one prophet, he can faint like my prophet. Fainted, 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 fainted. What about I write a book, it's called The Fainted Prophet. That is your prophet. So while Jesus was making the one who nobody can heal, healed. And this is mentioned in your Quran. Even the leper, which is nobody can heal. You're a prophet. A prophet, are you? What happened? Hey, Muhammad, wake up. He's fainted. Coma, coma. You want to go to this guy? You want to go to this guy to heal you? The fainted Abdul. So his penis not working. He kept fainting. He kept having diarrhea. He kept spitting, and when he spit he spit his saliva and his boogers in his sleeves. I mean, how clean? I better stop here, otherwise I will make you fainted. Saleh is asking me, did you find the wife? Well, he's a Abdul, he's a Muslim, he is worried about a wife. I don't know what to say, Saleh. My friend, I don't know what to say to you. My story is very similar to the story of Prophet Muhammad. My penis was not working, and it's not working, but I invoke Allah, and he sent me a shish kebab dish. So now possibly I will find a wife. Thank you, Saleh, for asking about my penis happiness. Hadith number 6426. Are you happy, Saleh? I hope I answered you. Go worry about your prophet. Your prophet have too many wives, but yet he could not have them. Even Aisha, she said he used to imagine himself having sex with us, but in fact he did not. I mean, even his sex is fake. Even his sex, he never did it. Am I lying, Saleh? He imagined himself. He what? Imagine himself. Like what? What? Hold on. No way. Oh, no, no. It happened. Oh, no, no. There's no way. No, no. It happened. It happened. This is da'if hadith. No, no. It's a strong hadith. Who? Are you sure? Huh? Let me show you the reference. Let me show you the reference. How is the trip doing, huh? You are talking about my trip? What about talking your prophet penis a drip? All right, all right. Let me show you the reference. The prophet who his penis. Oh boy. All right. Where is the hadith? The prophet imagined himself doing boom boom to his wife. Actually, I have many hadith, but I'm trying to find a specific one. Let us see this one. Sahih al-Bukhari. All right, that will do. Take a look with me. The fainted the prophet. I think he fainted, by the way. So because his wives are like asking him to have sex, He can do it. So he played like, okay, comma. Read it. This is Sahih al-Bukhari. Even his sex is fake. Magic worked in Allah Messenger, so that he used to think. He used what? He used, which means every day happened to him, to think that he had sexual interrelationship with his wives, which while he actually had not, brother. Are you there, Saleh? Saleh, you're a prophet. Even this one is fake. It's not working. Aisha, she do striptease. She did everything. Even she played the anthem, and yet his penis could not stand up. Are you there, Saleh? Am I lying? Hello? I mean, name for me one thing, and your prophet work. Name for me one thing. His brain is not functioning. His fingers are gone. His teeth are gone. His penis is not working. And on the top of that, he is a delusional. He imagine how he can trust this guy that he see angels and he speak to angels. If the guy he do not even know the real sex from fake sex. Prophet Muhammad, what happened yesterday? Oh man, yesterday I did boom boom to all of them. Really, Prophet? Are you sure? Oh yeah. Do you? I mean, are you sure? I'm telling you, I'm very sure. I can show you. What do you mean? I mean, I can show you what happened to the bed. Okay. But my wife, she asked your wife, and she said you did not even do it for the last year. What? My wife, she asked your wife. This is not true. And she asked the second wife. She said the same. This is not true. And she asked the third wife. She said the same. This is not true. She asked the fifth wife. She said the same. This is not true. She asked the sixth wife, the seventh wife, the eighth wife, the 20th. I mean, they asked them all. All of them, they say the same thing. Okay, all of them, they say the same thing, but it's not the same what happened to me. I swear by Allah, I boom them all. Look. Muhammad, don't show me your penis. Prophet, what is that? My penis. Why it's like that? What do you mean? It's very good. Okay, I got to go. Abdul, are we making things up? Are we fabricating stories? Even his sex has no witnesses. Not only the angels never witnessed, nobody saw him go into heaven, nobody saw him going down to earth, nobody saw him doing anything. Even his sex, there's nobody. Do you know the movie is called The Perfect Host? Any of you watch it? Watch it. It's like exactly the story of Muhammad. This guy, he imagined himself having sex with people. He's mentally ill. He make dinner. He sent even letters to himself. He sent letter. He wrote in the letter as if it's a girlfriend writing for him a letter. He sent a letter, that girl, she is talking to him, sending him a card. He put it in the mail. The mail come back to him. He read it. He's so happy his girlfriend is talking to him. And then he make dinner. He invite people, but there's nobody in the table. Watch it, The Perfect Host. You did not see it? Man, you are missing. You will see Muhammad. Actually, when I saw this movie first time, I right away, this is Muhammad. Actually, the one who wrote the story is really very smart, because like now I burned the story for you. If you watch it without me telling you what will happen, you will be more surprised. Actually, The Perfect Host. The guy, he have visitors, he have women doing striptease on the table, he have, but none of this is true. But when you watch the movie, you think it's true. Look, in this scene here, all those are in his table, but in reality, there's nobody. He served food. They start having sex. And this is the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He imagined himself having sexual intercourse, but in fact he did not. The perfect host. And look at you Muslims, how covered you are. Not even a single one of you dare to come and debate me and prove me wrong. And all of us, we knew why. Because you are bankrupt. Because you cannot defend such a fool. And if a foolish man like Muhammad can fool you, how foolish are you? So I want to say to you all, thank you all for being here. May the Lord bless you. And I hope the Muslim will learn, will read, will educate themselves, and they will see that they are being deceived. And there's nobody can save you except our Lord and our Savior. His name is Christ. His name is holy. His life is holy. His birth is holy. And now he is in the holy heaven, where there's no sex, there's no dirt, there's no filth, but the holy God. And when the Holy Lord come with the glory, his glory, with his angels above the cloud, you Muslims will be sorry. You've been warned, you've been taught, and we did deliver it to you. You might die today, and tomorrow you go to hell. Don't follow the wicked. The wicked cannot save you. Don't follow a sinner. If you follow a Christian prince, he is a sinner. He cannot save you. But I know one can save me. He said, I am the truth. I am the life. I am the resurrection. And not only he said that, he proved it. He resurrected people from death. So yes, he is the resurrection. He said, I am the life. He gave life to the dead. Yes, he is the life. I am the truth. For sure. Because all of us will die, and we are not exist until we are resurrected again, except the Messiah. No grave can host him. No death can take him. And nobody can judge him, for he is the judge of judges, the King of kings, the Lord of lords, and he is going to punish you. Or he will be saving you. It's a call you choose. And the Lord, he said, from their fruits you shall know them. What is the fruit of Muhammad? Evil, wicked, deceiver. Even his own son wife, he took her. He spent his busy robbing and raping. Thank you all for being here. And always remember that God is good. So is Jesus. And we are the crusade. See ya.